I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Dan. Here. Carolyn. Here. Tom. Here. Bob. Rod. Here. You have a quorum? So we are able to conduct this.
Any comments from the visitors? Yes, Phil?
Tom, did you happen to get that invoice from Bugars yet?
I don't got an invoice, but I have Pat wrote out what he did with it.
I'd like to see the invoice also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
John, can you e-file that to me, or email that to me, the invoice from Bugar, the one for 26,000 something, it was June or July?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Gary?
I was just wondering, McKenna didn't get graded all summer. Didn't get any dust. Are they gonna get plowed this year?
Yes.
They'll get plowed. So on that, can I answer on this
Yes.
as long as I'm involved in this? So talked to Russ last fall. Russ said we tried to grade it last year and we could not grade it. We were taking the big base up and it was dished and we were pulling turf in. So what we did is Pat back drove it once as good as he could and that was it. So then I talked to Russ and Russ said he was going to bring that up to grade. He's going to count it this spring. I received a phone call from one of the residents on the road early in the summer asking about grading. At that time, I called Russ and let him know that one of his residents, I just want to give you a heads up, one of your residents has called about the grading. I want to give you a heads up on it because I want you to have the opportunity to talk to them first on your schedule on when you're going to put the gravel on. Didn't hear anything back. Called again. Russ did call me back and leave me a message, said that he was busy with graduations and he'd give me a call back. In the meantime, I received a phone call from a second resident. Talked to him for quite a while, told him the conversations that I've had with Russ and the other resident on the road. And he said that he knew Russ real well. I don't know if he's relation or not, but he said he knew him real well and he wanted to go talk to him and that he was going to take the other resident on the road to go talk to him, and they did. They contacted me back, and they said that Russ was going to put gravel on that road as soon as he can. And I said, thank you for the information. As soon as that is done, we don't have a problem grading this, but we can't grade it the way it is. So that's where that was all left. And as far as, it was probably 3 weeks ago, I went through there again, and I did not see where any gravel was put on that road yet.
Well, that, I know we didn't put any gravel
So
on it.
that's-
I've been trying to get, Russ, just get it done.
Yeah. And I think the one resident was also that way, the second one that had called me. I had quite a long conversation with him after he talked to Russ, and it sounded like he just dragged his feet a little bit, but he'll get it done. So, and I wanted to give Russ the opportunity to talk to the residents. I didn't want to, make the situation any worse than what it is. So I did go to Russ first before they went and talked to him. So that was the conversations that I had with everybody involved in that this summer. And yes, we will plow, as we did last year.
And you can plow all the gravel on my lawn because I bought a brush.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. Approval of town board meeting minutes for October 10th.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
chance to read it, or do you want to? Any further discussion on the minutes? There is none. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against, say nay. Minutes approved. Planning Commission, Dorothy?
Okay, well, we met October 24th. We discussed some of the changes that need to be presented to the town board, because the town board is the one who makes the recommendations to the county. All we do is suggest. Anyways, we did make a motion that the town board change the size of the residential buildings for these sheds to 16-foot sidewalls, because what they're making now, you have to get a conditional use in order to put your campers in your sheds. And a conditional use, talking to Lori this afternoon, the Board of Adjustment has not made the decision whether the conditional use permit is going to stay with the property, or if somebody sells the property, do the new people have to ask again for another conditional use permit? But anyway, our recommendation was to increase the sidewalls to 16 and the garage door opener to 14 feet. Any other, the county is willing to come down and meet with the town board about Chapter 17. It doesn't look good for us to have them next month, because we normally don't have a meeting in December because it's too close to Christmas. We will have one yet this month, but they've offered to come and talk with the county or with the town board, any changes that you want to see happen, because their time is limited also, because that Chapter 17 gets approved in February. So, just deadline there. And it was, Tammy Wenzel did ask about Plan Commission, how one gets to be involved, and it was mentioned that in the past, it's always been the Plan Commission has gone out and canvassed for their future people. So anyways, it was talked about. Tammy Wenzel did say it show an interest.
Is that your only concern to move forward with
We figured this has been something that's been on the books for 3 years, that we've been asking for this. We thought if we could get one thing done, that's a start. There's other issues, but I don't know if any of you have sat down and read Chapter 17. I mean,
Yes.
well, you're on the Board of Adjustment. But, these are things that, we go through, we recommend.
So I have a question on the height of the wall, and only because I've built some garages in the McMillan area, and I ran into a couple times where the height of the outbuilding couldn't be higher than your highest peak on your house. So a lot of these couldn't have 16-foot walls, they could only have 14-foot walls.
Right, but see, it's to change the code in the rural residential area is what they're kind of talking about.
Okay.
I don't know the camper. I own kicker racks, bale racks, so I know what it takes for me to get in and out of the door. But I know there's 3-4 instances in the township that I know of that they had to get conditional use permits in order to be able to put their campers in their sheds.
No, Bob Spring had that problem
Right.
when he built his.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then didn't realize he could get a
But the
variance,
issue that he had wasn't he didn't have to raise the sidewalls, he just had to be allowed to put the door in.
then you have to go with a different
door.
style door. Wayne Dalton door will tuck up close.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are things that people are not aware of until they start putting their sheds up and then, buy the camper and it doesn't fit. So then you gotta go rent a spot.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to do. I mean, you got all these campers and stuff with roof air and everything you didn't have before. They don't fit in a 12-foot door.
True.
I mean, I got a 12-foot door, I know.
Me too. Doesn't go.
I can't get one that fast there.
We have anything for garbage, you know, anything, John, that came through maybe last month?
No.
It's Bob's not here. Anybody else here, Ann? Okay. Library, yeah?
Nothing new to report on the library other than, our agreement, with the Marshfield Public Library is due up for renewal in '23. And so we'll be, working with them to come up to, hopefully with a better arrangement, a more equitable arrangement that, doesn't fluctuate like it did this year. But, you know, we'll see. That's all I have.
Okay. Buildings and grounds, Ms. Silkus?
Yes, we had 21 rentals completed. We have actually 2 now scheduled for December, and I now have started getting reservations. I think I have 5 already for 23. So people have, you know, things have been kept in good shape, and with the fact that we have, you know, the air conditioning and the heating, it makes it much more palatable to everybody. The caulking was done around the windows by Mr. Zimmerman. The septic has been pumped this month so that we go into the winter with just however it usually is managed. The picnic tables will be moved into the garage this month. I may have to order some more supplies for the coming year, since we supply the garbage bags, toilet paper, cleaning products for the pavilion. I guess we may, and also maybe some for the garage and town hall. The mowing bid we'll put out for bids in the spring, as well as a park maintenance, ball diamond and picnic tables. So, need to be addressed as far as staining them. So, that's it.
You had A underneath your section, pavilion heat.
I had a note that you wanted to talk about the pavilion heat,
Oh,
so I just added that on. to the
Okay.
agenda.
oh, I didn't, okay. I didn't even see that. We really don't know. We've not had a whole full year of checking it, so I think that we'll go through the winter. We're going to leave the heat on, and I'll keep the heat down if there's not a rental in there, and hopefully with the caulking around the windows, which should make a big help, and keep it low, but keep it heated, you know, so, because we do have a rental in January, and one in March, so, it looks like if we can get a full year under our belt as far as the heating cost and see how it goes. I can't see any reason if, you know, hopefully the fuel won't be so high that we can't do that. But if we can get the rentals, it certainly helps. And I don't know where we want to start with, we need a start date for when we're gonna have our year in. I mean, because we have, you know, didn't we have just one big bill?
We had one that I think clumped like 3 or 4, maybe even 5
Some of them
months together
together.
last year when
Yeah.
they sent that out. That's why it was so big. We were thinking that $700 was 1 month, but it ended up being multiple months.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess so we could probably, if we just had I just need a month as to when you wanna start that.
So I'm on the bill right now, it says, we use $17 of gas, $18 of gas, from middle of September to the middle of October. So I can just kind of monitor that and report that out,
Oh,
like
yeah.
on an ongoing basis, so that we can
Yes.
kind of keep an eye on it.
So what
Yeah.
did you say that, how much?
$18 of gas usage from September 14th through October 14th. That's pretty much like the, I mean, it looks like it's
It was
pretty well
warm. It was
minimal,
warm,
so,
yes,
you know,
yes.
I don't expect that will continue.
No, I
throughout
don't expect it to
winter, but
continue
I-
like that.
So it says, yeah, okay, so. I don't know, if I'm interpreting this correctly, it looks like it might have gotten up to, that can't be right. I think something got cooped up, because either that or else somebody cranked up the heat to like 90, because it says that they were using, in December, they used like 160 therms of gas, and then in January, they used 225, in February, they used 230, and then in March, it went up to 240. So I have a hard time believing that they used more gas in March than they did in December and January. So I think there was something goofy about the,
Well, we
like
can
I
just
said
keep
before.
track.
yeah, I mean, I will write myself a note to kind of highlight that every time that I
Okay,
present it, because it's a monthly bill that I present, so.
okay, good, thank you.
Did we put it on the website yet that the heat is on?
I think it's, I
And
put
then
on
we are
there that
renting
it's
it out.
available to
I mean,
rent
if
year
we're gonna
round.
continue through the whole winter, then we should,
Try to recoup some of our costs.
yes.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if people realize that, I mean, when you drive past, you don't know that it's,
Well, so far, it hasn't slowed down much.
I can put it on the homepage, and then, Donna and I were talking earlier about like, an informational sheet to include with the taxes, you can put that on there saying, hey, you know,
Oh, that'd be perfect.
the pavilion's available for rental year round.
Okay.
Gary, did you have something?
I was gonna say that most of that bill, you have a fixed monthly charge, you have that run in there. And most of that bill is probably that monthly charge. Look at your bills at home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tom, maybe? Okay, had a couple things here. The resident that had all of the furniture put on the front lawn, I did swing by, and I did pick that up and take that to the disposal. They're very helpful with that. Basically, I went there, they let me go right through, they helped me unload it and get rid of it for the residents. That was really nice of them to do that. I was gonna have Bob send them a thank you for me. And the residents were really happy about it too. And then we had one incident report. Hack schmucked his finger a little bit there. I think he's gonna probably lose his fingernail, but I guess Martin mentioned that. He did hit it pretty good, and it turned black and blue, so, he's got a Band-Aid on it now, I think, to protect the fingernail. Other than that, I looked at a couple culverts. I did not write permits out because they were gonna replace with the same size, so that was it.
Okay. Lori? Ready for it?
Since our last board meeting, we've had no fire calls, 2 EMS calls, 1 mutual aid, 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 gas leak, and 1 trash or rubbish pile. At this time, we don't have any new members to present. The fire department hosted a MABUS meeting this last month in October. Training will be joint with our EMS group, and we'll be training on Stop the Bleed this month. The department had a good turnout for what is Voter Day Black Friday. Thank you for your support, everybody who came. EMS, paperwork's been submitted for community EMS endorsement, and I did get an email Friday stating we did get the endorsement. So Kim and I will start working on putting together a fall prevention program for the group with our medical director and DHS's help. Community education is, November is Carbon Monoxide Awareness Month. Please follow our link on the Facebook page to learn more. Any questions?
I have one question
Yes,
from a
sir.
resident. They asked, is there a number where somebody you can call to check for CO2 or showing you how to set your house up for CO2?
You can call the fire department.
You guys?
Mhm.
Okay, thank
We
you.
can help you do that.
Can we, report on the Fall Fest?
Sure, go ahead.
We came up with the final numbers. The profit from the Fall Fest was $14,913.06, which, considering the smaller crowd due to the weather and what have you, I think I'm very happy with that.
And again, thank you for everybody's support who came to the Fall Fest. It's most appreciated.
Sure, so, see, I received 2 zoning permits and 1 sanitary permit, forwarded to me from the county. That's about as far as correspondence goes. The notification, so I would like to, switch our landline from Frontier into Microsoft Teams phone. We would be able to keep the same telephone number. We can have an auto attendant. We can currently do that on our current phone. So that's basically like you can set up to say if you want the road supervisor, press 3, and then you can program the number in to who that will call, so it'll call Tom. It will be similar to our current phone, although we wouldn't need the physical phone. So when we switched into the clerk at townofmcmillan.gov email address, we were required to, because we were on the .gov domain, you had to get a third-party email administrator. You couldn't just administer your email yourself. So we went with the Microsoft package that we talked about previously. So that's costing $10 per user per month for the email, and then with that you get a bunch of other stuff. You get the access to the OneDrive, you get access to all the Microsoft Office stuff online. It's a pretty good deal. And then also like the backup and archiving, which we talked about previously, which is just good practice for government. So to add this on to that clerk at townofmcmillan.gov, it would cost about $7 a month. And then that includes the auto attendant, it includes the voicemail, all this stuff. Currently, we're paying about $35 per month with Frontier, so that would equate to about an 80% savings monthly, and that is $300 annually. So that's one of the good news. Kind of the impetus behind this is because so I set it up so that the phone forwards to my phone, but it's doing it inconsistently. Sometimes it rings 2.5 times, sometimes 1.5 times, sometimes 1 time, sometimes 0 times. I got a call on the Friday before the election from the county clerk saying, I've had a number of people call me saying that they can't get a hold of you. I was taking calls, but they weren't ringing through to my phone. So I don't think that it's consistently sending the phone calls to my phone. So that's a frustration. But with the Teams phone, it would just ring directly to my cell phone. So I have the Teams app on my cell phone, and it'll ring however many times that I want to, and then I just pick it up from there. I can also I can set up an app on here that it would ring here, and I can pick it up on my computer, whatever. So there's a number of ways to access it. Another thing is it would provide better continuity. So when the internet was down here in this area of McMillan, it was down for us. I mean, for Dorothy it was down for a long time, but for us it was down for like 2 days. But that also meant that the phone lines were down. Like, you couldn't call in because we have internet phone, the voice over IP. With the Teams, as long as I am able to get into cell phone reception or internet connection, I can receive a telephone call. So like, when I'm at home, I can get a call. When I was out here working during the internet outage, I just turned my phone into a hotspot using my cell phone data, and I connected the computer to that, and then I could get on the internet. So I had cell phone coverage, but no Frontier internet, so I could still get telephone calls if I had the Teams set up. The other benefit is easier administration. So I have no idea, that phone system is like enterprise level phone system. We have one line, but when I called into Frontier and said, help me with this, they were telling me, oh, this is going to extension 4000 and this is going to extension 8000. I said, don't give me extensions, just give me, I want one telephone number. So I still don't know how to administer it. I was telling Rod the other day that I've probably spent, I would guess 20 man hours just trying to get the phone to a usable spot right now, and it's still inconsistently usable. I mean, it's fine if you're sitting at the desk, it'll ring, I guess, but you know, how do you clear the voicemails and stuff? Like, my understanding from what they told me is that there's multiple voicemail boxes. I know how to clean out one of them, but if they're going to a different one, I don't even know how to access that one. So I think that this is just an easier way to administer it. And if we don't like it, we can always switch back because there's no contract. So that's what I would like to do. You know, as I've been saying, I've been transitioning slowly into the .gov because there's been other things that needed attending to, like elections and budgets and stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of put that on the front burner sooner. So this wouldn't take place immediately. This would be something that we would work with our IT contractor to kind of transition us into that. But that's what I'd like to do. So if there's no objections, that's what I would plan on doing.
What is that gonna do for the fire department, because we have the same Frontier that you guys have?
Frontier, you guys have a different bill.
Oh, we do? Oh,
Yeah,
didn't know that.
and your bill is cheaper than ours. I don't know, when I call in to cancel the telephone line, I will say, P.S. why is internet so doggone expensive? This is crazy, you know, I mean.
I didn't know we had separate bills.
Yep.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so there would be no impact on the fire department, it would just impact the clerk's office.
John, have you run into the problem yet when you have the phone going and the computers and the printers where the internet will kick out on you because of that phone?
No.
It can be a problem. So,
Yeah, I would imagine,
because it's all internet run.
yeah,
So when it gets too much on there, you might get cut off on a phone conversation or, you know.
yeah, that's a good point. I remember, you know, when my work initially transitioned to VoIP phones, like, we were having an issue where, like, the phone would cut out because there wasn't enough bandwidth, because
Right.
people were doing work stuff on their internet stuff, so that's another good,
That might be a
Pro.
reason for some of your calls too that weren't coming through.
I wouldn't imagine so, because there shouldn't be any internet activity, because I wasn't in the office, so
Call forwarding, or were they calling your cell?
they were call forwarding,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, that's another, the VoIP takes bandwidth, and so does the internet bandwidth, and then, so they're competing for the same amount of bandwidth, and there's less bandwidth on whatever kind of DSL may be out here, I don't know. So, I think that there's no, I don't see any downsides, and like I said, if we don't like it, if it stinks, we can always go back, but,
Anything's an improvement to what you have.
yeah. Let's see, we had a very good turnout for the election, so I really appreciate all the election inspectors. Many of those people spend the entire day, so I don't know if everyone knows that, but every election, there's many of the people that spend the entire, from 6:30 a.m. until 9:30 p.m., the whole time, doing work. And, you know, on an election like this last one, it was very busy, you know, I mean, there were people that weren't even able to eat a snack until, I mean, get like a supper break until like, when it slowed down at like 7 o'clock or something, so I really appreciate them.
Thank you.
They're really nice.
We do too.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
great to work with. Everyone was really professional. I really appreciate all of them. That was really good. I received a $500 refund to the credit card, the old credit card. So, which is still in existence. I've been transitioning off that one still, but $500 refund from QuickBooks. We had an incorrect recurring subscription. It was for like a software that an accountant would use to, like, if I was an accountant and I was doing accounting for other businesses, like I can have multiple businesses on my QuickBooks. And so QuickBooks is another thing that I spent probably at least 20 or 40 man hours trying to get straightened out. But they told me that this one was, I said, why do we have two? And they said, I don't know, that's your guys' problem. And so I wouldn't let it go. So I called them up and they said, well, you can't have a refund because it was whatever, from earlier this year. It's been a recurring thing since whatever, 2018 or something. But they said that we hadn't like utilized it since 2020 or something like that. And so I said, well, if you're not gonna give me the refund, then let me talk to somebody else because clearly we haven't used it, so I'd like the money back. And then so she, after that, she said somebody would call me back and nobody called me back, but I got a notice like the next day saying they refunded $526. So that's good news. And then the last thing that I have is there's a quest bill in your check listing for $500 for civil engineering. That was for the Brickyard Road stuff. And I think that somebody, maybe it was Tom or everyone said that I should be invoicing Brickyard for that. Do you know who?
Might be Jeff Hill.
Okay. I'll have to see if I have his information, but, okay. And that's the end of my report. Unless you want me to, like, do you want me to go into the check stuff? Or, yeah, if you have any questions about the checks?
What is Transcendent Technologies?
That's the preparation for the tax bills.
Okay.
That's the company that creates that business. That has to be paid before we can access that.
Hmm. I'll make a motion to approve the checks if no one has any questions. And then also, do I need another motion to approve your report?
I think just a motion to approve the checks would be fine. So
Okay.
I'll write it, motion to approve checks number 19155 through 19200, including electronic transfers. So my naming convention is just to put the year, the month, and to start numbering. So 2022-10/01 to 2022-10/11.
I'll second that motion.
A motion, a second to approve the checks as stated by John. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Checks approved.
One quick question, John. Do you have the names of the people? I mean, do we give a thank you to people that help you at these elections?
I do have.
I come through and I saw a lot of new faces. Bruce, I saw you there. Thank you. Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep.
But a lot of faces, I didn't know the people.
Yeah, so, let's see, I think it's Kathy Dobriner, Dorothy Olson, Bruce Wyman, Mary Jane Swenson,
Pretty,
Bernice Miller, Mercer,
Mercy?
Cheryl Imhoff.
Sherry Imhoff, yep. Those are the ones that stick out. I think those are the ones that have been, I think they both work, or those people work both of the elections this year. But I can, yeah, I have a list of all the people that have worked both of the elections.
I'll get that for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
As far as the budget to actual, so I feel like I want to start kind of maybe trying to, you know, provide any commentary that I might notice on this stuff. So what I did this time was I highlighted the kind of the major sections. My intent is to maybe, that's another thing that I want to get some feedback from you guys. What do you want me to produce for the meeting tomorrow? Maybe think about that and then let me know at the end of the meeting. But one of the things that I thought might be helpful is to produce, or to bring along this budget to actual. And what I did was I highlighted all of the ones that will coincide with the budget notice that's been posted. You know, if you look at the 2022 budget, these numbers should coincide pretty closely. Like we talked about during the budget workshops, there was some fluctuations on those for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But that at least gives people an idea of kind of what they're looking at. Let's see, so I think that it looked like that we were under budget in all of the expense categories, so that's always good news. One thing that I wanted to draw your attention to is on page 5 of that report. So you'll see total for culture and recreation education 55100. So it's showing a negative 1672 in the over budget category or line. So that's, if it's positive, we're over budget, that's bad. If it's negative, that's good, we're under budget. So we're under budget there, but only by $1,600. One of the things that I think is kind of maybe, I don't really like how this is laid out, is if you look up a little bit, 55200-15 deposit refund, that shows an expense, but I don't feel like that should be an expense. It should really be a reduction of revenue. Obviously, I'm not intending to go back and do all this stuff for the calendar year. I don't think it's worth it. That might be something that I'll explore going forward at the next calendar year. I don't like making changes mid-accounting cycle, but you know, in the next accounting cycle, something like this is so insignificant that it doesn't really matter. It's not like a significant change in accounting practices, but I do think that it should not be showing as an expense because.
But you do write a check out for it.
Right, but it should come out of, because it's a refund of the deposit, so it should be.
I know what you're saying.
It should be, you should book $200 of revenue immediately when you receive the check, and then reduce
Take it
that
off
by
there.
100, right? So the expense would actually be to the revenue account instead of an expense account. Because otherwise you're inflating your revenue, you're overstating your revenue and overstating your expenses, the way that it currently is. It all comes out in the wash. It doesn't, you know, the net effect is 0. But as it stands, we might end up going over budget on the parks and recreation line because there's $2,300 of deposit refunds. So I just wanted to point that out. That was just something that I noticed when I was looking through this report.
Any other questions for John? Donna?
Um,
Did you
If there are no questions, by the middle of next month, we will empty the tax savings account, which is significant. We will have to take some out, and I think John estimated like 40,000 we need to transfer to get us through into December. Is that close enough?
Yep.
So we'll need a motion, or however you've been doing that, to transfer 40,000 out of that tax savings now, so we can keep paying bills. So it's been a nice time. Okay. So I need that,
Is 40 your number?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to withdraw $40,000 from the tax savings account for this next month's bills.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, a second, to pull about 40,000 out of the tax savings account and put it in the general fund. Any further discussion on that? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Ayes have it.
The accounts, the parks and the Fall Fest will be, continue to be reconciled for December. That money comes back to the general account. That's, I think there's, excuse me, the bills were like 19,000, so that's gonna come back in to general from Fall Fest. There's that, and then some for the parks. The question I have on the parks, so I probably knows, but the bills and like for the heat and all that stuff, does that come out of that money too, or is that out of that budget category? How are you doing that?
It's coming out of the budget.
It's coming out of the budget, okay, so we'll just be transferring those $100 ones that go there, okay. I would like, and you have that slot that's in the building, it goes into a locked box on the inside of the vestibule in the building. We'd like to open that, we've talked about that, we'll open that up, back up now, so that there's better communication for the fire department to put their things in, to make it timely for him. And also for myself, they could put slide tax bills in there, if they wish, they want to send me something, I can handle lottery credits and different things that we need to get handled. We can put those in there, if that's okay with you. You won't have any problem with us using that?
No.
It's much safer than the mailbox, we used to do things years ago like that, but that's quite simple. So we'll go ahead and get that opened up so we can communicate. Let's see, what else, transfer.
Do you guys wanna make a motion to transfer the remaining
Oh,
tax stuff, or, I mean,
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, it can be a,
yeah.
Has to be emptied by the 15th or so of December when we start collecting those monies. So we'll start at fresh year.
So you want, we'll make a motion to, transfer the remaining funds out of the tax savings into the, general fund
Okay.
at the time designated.
I figure, if we wait and do it like the 1st of December, then we can hopefully capture all of the interest possibilities. Don and I were talking about it on the way in here, like, it's getting right now $17 in interest per month. So like, I mean, sure, we could push it out
Half of
till
that you might get.
December 10th or something,
Right.
but I don't know if there's any benefit to it, so, okay, so we'll plan on December 1st.
So Carolyn, that was your motion to
Yes.
transfer those?
I'll second it, please.
Motion is second to transfer the funds out of the tax savings account into the general fund. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye. Those against, nay. Ayes have it. Money can be transferred.
In the past, you used to put that monies that rolled over into CD. I want you to tell me what you think about doing that, like the first of the year, if we do a 6-month CD on those ARPA funds, and the balance is in that general checking, down pretty close to empty. Is that something you want to do? don't know exactly what the interest rate, it'd be probably a little more than what we're getting in our accounts. But you guys need to let me know if you wanna do that, so think about that. That's what we used to do, we used to transfer them into like CD and designated highway or however you choose to do that. So we can do that next month's meeting, but we need to know that, so we can do that the first of the year.
The end of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
New business, ambulance contract.
The ambulance contract in your packet, I received the contract from the city of Marshfield, and then Lori sent me an updated front page. I have not received that from the city of Marshfield, so the only change between Lori's and the one that I received was the highlighted section about, the lift assist no entries EMS requests. The total is $66,401.
What happened to number 4?
Did we read your notice?
Yeah, so maybe that didn't stay on mine. Let me make sure that it's on the one that we recently.
The one I sent you was missing number 4.
John, this, the one Lori gave me was not. That has 4 on it.
Yeah, this one's different than the one that Lori sent, because the no lift part is number 3. The one that she sent me, so,
The one that you have in your hand right now is the city approved one that the deputy chief emailed me later today that I printed off for Rob to sign if you approve it.
So let's go over this again, if you will, please. So the highlighted part are the changes that are going to be made.
Yes.
Haven't you been doing that though?
Yes, sir, we have.
That's what I thought.
The reason I requested it in writing is because our dispatch center is having issues with Marshfield declining our lift assists. So if you approve this and sign it, I get a copy of the signed thing, I send it to our dispatch. It is in black and white that Marshfield will not come for a lift assist unless we request their help after we're already on scene and did an assessment.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Why wouldn't we want that? Why wouldn't we want that in the contract?
Why don't listen? What's the changing? Because I don't have that.
here, let me go, I'll go grab the. Yeah, so number 4 originally was the ambulance.
Okay, what's a lift assist?
Somebody fell down, needs help with their bathtub or something like that.
So, you can pass these along.
Yep, it's just
So
about the,
basically, what is it?
it's,
It's a potential neck injury, it's a potential.
So they put this thing, that this is now its own number.
It's
it,
own
it,
number.
it basically, it outlines that the municipality shall be responsible for uncollectible accounts, not to exceed the sum of $3,000. Basically, is what the missing number 4 is.
Oh, yes, is that the way that has been in the past?
Correct.
That the city assumes if they don't have insurance, if the people that, or whoever in the accident, if they don't have insurance and can't pay, the city assumes that. That,
But if it stays delinquent for 6 months in this contract year, we as a township are responsible to pay that bill up to $3,000 for the entire year.
if after 6 months nothing happens.
Right.
Okay,
It has been that way for, I don't know how long, I've got at least 4 or 5 contracts sitting in the desk
okay,
that says the same thing.
yeah, okay.
On any, is that on any road, town road, or state highways?
Any bill that is uncollected
Any bill.
within the township. And if it's on the border of 2 townships, the 2 townships split the cost.
Split it.
Yep.
Okay. So, even
So on your calls, Lori, it has to do with this, lift assist, no injuries. So when the person calls in, you're taking their word for it, they just need help up then? Or-
Correct. And if they actually do a 911 call to our 911 dispatch,
Right,
we go emergent there, we assess the patient, help them up, give vitals. If the vitals are good and the patient family feels comfortable with them staying home, we don't need the ambulance to come. But
okay,
if we get there and there's like bleeding from the head or the vitals are kind of wonky, we'll have the ambulance come out.
okay.
But it's at our discretion if they come or not on these lift assists.
Instead of just automatically
Correct.
dispatching?
Yep,
And then there's a charge involved in that?
correct. Lift assists for Marshall to come out are $300.
So what we have in front of us is not, is this what we're going to approve then? What we have without the number 4 or the revised, however?
The one that you probably have in your hand right now, where number 3 is the lift assist, not the one that was in the packet.
Not the one in the packet.
Nope, that one was incorrect.
Okay.
Pass that around for anybody. Anybody want to read through
We
this?
looked at it.
The other thing I have to make clear on the lift assist, if at any time that we're on that call, and the individual wants to be transported, all they have to say is, I want to be transported. And we call Marshfield, and then the ambulance comes out. This is just to try to cut down on some of the calls that Marshfield has with us, trying to alleviate some of the bills that our residents get when all they really need is they've slipped out of their chair a little bit, and they have no complaints, no pain, no nothing, and they want to just be lifted back up into the chair and go on their merry way.
Okay, so
That's the purpose behind that.
I got a personal question in here, and I can be, so, okay, so there's a non-emergency call. Of course, and it's an emergency to the person calling, so they get there, it's gonna be a lift assist thing. But it's not underneath the limits or what do you wanna say, where it fits into an emergency, okay? And the person still says they wanna be
We
transported.
will call the ambulance, we will
You
call
will call it,
dispatch
you
to
will
say,
call,
I need an ambulance to this address, the patient wants to be transported, they'll relay it to Wood County and they will come.
okay, so the question I have is there any mention on monies at that point before you call that ambulance? Because I do know it's expensive,
Nope.
especially if it's a non-emergency.
The only
Okay.
reason I know the dollar amount for the lift assist is because we inquired about it to see if by doing this, we're saving the town residents any money, and we are, we're saving $300 every time a lift assist is needed.
Right. Okay, and I'm good with all this, I mean, yeah, I just, so I can get it.
Yep, like Rod said, anytime we're on scene and they say, I wanna be transported, we've always got a radio with us, we'll just let dispatch know and they'll get Marshall coming.
Okay,
And it's only on the calls where the person says, I am not hurt, I have no pain. I mean, the dispatchers are gonna screen the call. If
right,
they come back, I just need help off the floor into my chair. That's where it rolls into. It's not I mean, if they say, yeah, I'm bleeding a little bit from the side of my head, that's not this call, that's not where that comes in.
Right.
That comes in with the ambulance then.
Okay.
But never at any time is the money discussed. You,
Not with the patient, no.
okay.
Is that all the charges like the city does?
I just know they're expensive.
Yeah,
for
they're very
emergency.
expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
you need a motion to approve the contract? Is that it?
I think the one other thing for the board just to realize is that when we sat down and we actually did our physical budget, the numbers that we had were numbers, that's right, it was not actual billed numbers, it was projected numbers from the one before. So if you notice, there is a little bit of increase, we're a little shortfall there, just so everybody's aware of that.
I would prefer a motion to move forward though.
You gotta have a motion for that.
I'll motion to approve it. I'll make a motion to approve the,
Ambulance.
yeah, the ambulance agreement with the city marshal.
Did somebody second that?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the ambulance contract with the city of Marshfield. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Ayes have it. Contract approved by us. I don't know if the property tax bill overpayments is yours, John, or if it's Donna's.
It's, what do we wanna do there? We're, John and I have discussed it, what should we do, so we're not writing checks for a penny
Yeah,
or
so,
10 cents, something.
I guess, when I was at one of the trainings that I've attended for clerks, somebody mentioned that they, don't issue any refunds if they're less than $5. So if your escrow overpaid your taxes by $1, the town gets an extra $1. I think it goes both ways. I think they're also doing it if you're underpaying by $1. I guess if your escrow underpays by $1, if somebody comes in and underpays by $1, we should probably make them pay it. But you know, like if you look at our open check report, there's a number of them that are for 1 cent, 2 cent, whatever. It's going to cost us way more than 1 cent or 2 cents to print the check. It's going to cost us way more than 1 cent or 2 cents to mail that check out. But I think eliminating them under $5 or allowing some petty cash so that we can just give them a penny, or 2 pennies or 30 cents. I'd rather just eliminate or have it anything less than $5. We don't pay their refund unless they want it in. Well, no, yeah, we don't do it. It's you don't get the option. That would be my suggestion, but
My question is, if they come into the office saying that you, I have a $4 refund coming, would you pay that?
no. I'd say sorry. Here's
I would say that's okay, but we have to let them know somehow. that
Yes, I
this
think
is-
that-
This is gonna be our policy now.
that would be something that we could put on that with their taxes.
With their taxes, I think it has to go with their taxes, so that they, if we're doing this, they have to at least know upfront that we're doing
Yes,
this, not
yes.
just here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you give that penny back to that guy?
No, but I got phone calls into them.
I have a question, John.
I did not. And I actually didn't know if I should give him that penny or not.
Now, you
I was
said
just
that
gonna
should
ask
go
him if I
both ways.
could
If there's an underpayment,
cancel the check
how's the
first.
county gonna handle
But
that?
I was gonna offer, yes.
Are they gonna be considered late on taxes then, if they're $1 short?
You're not, we didn't suggest that. You
Okay,
talked
then
about
I
when-
misspoke, so I think that it should just be for refunds.
It's only for refunds, it's not about if they're short on.
If they're short, we'll get all
If
the
they're
money.
They're gonna be.
Because otherwise the county's
Right.
gonna
They
pay.
made that up. It's
Yeah.
only about the refunds, it's not about any other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And who knows, it depends sometimes, when they clean out their escrows and things like that. Sometimes their escrow isn't enough, and then I get 2 checks, I'll get a personal check and I'll get, so, they usually make it pretty close. Once in a while, I will need a motion though
Yeah,
to.
it makes sense, $5 is, it costs us more to give the $5, and
That's why I just asked if they come into the office, say, I want my $5, I want me to say about it, then
So
We leave that
there's
option
where
for
the
them.
petty cash comes in, so like, you know, but,
I think if we make the rule, we gotta stick with the rule though.
Just
Because
make
if you
it,
do
yeah,
that,
I think it's easier, I mean.
We'll try it
it's-
one year and see what happens,
Yeah.
and if
And we'll
it's
see,
something we need
yeah,
to talk
maybe-
about next year. or-
Maybe there's, you know, a bunch of people with pitchforks and torches outside of our office saying, hey, give me my 20 cents back. Then you know,
Well,
I'll
20
bring.
cents is a big difference from $4. If so, I mean, if somebody would come in and say, hey, mine was overpaid by $4, I'd really like that back, and you're saying, no, they can't have it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want that fight.
yeah.
I don't know if I want it either.
We'll see how it goes, I mean.
I mean, I can see
I
track
can see
them
the penny
down and
ones,
get them a
right?
check and do all that
Penny
stuff,
ones,
but
yeah.
yeah,
I
if they
don't
come
know.
into the office and say, hey,
You guys are the ones in charge, you can put it down to
Well,
$1,
that's what
I don't
they
care.
Put it
You
to a
don't care
dollar.
what you
I
do.
mean,
well, maybe.
what's it
maybe-
cost to send,
maybe
what's it
make
cost to send a check?
Well,
Seriously.
60 cents.
Probably
just the
about $1,
postage.
I'd say.
Yeah.
About a buck.
60 cents for the postage and probably 50
Yeah.
cents for the
It's
check.
up to you. I mean, you can do whatever you want. He just mentioned that other towns were doing $5. You can do $1, $2 for whatever you choose to do, but we need to handle something
Yeah,
this way.
I would say,
So we don't get it.
I think it's a little more palatable if you go to just $1 or $2 rather than, I mean, 5,
So-
you know,
Go ahead.
sometimes
Make a
$5
motion
five
then
is
for whatever
Buy a
you
coffee
like.
or something.
what would you like for a motion?
$2. Yes, $2, let's make it $2.
I make a motion that we do not refund overpayments under $2. With the understanding that there is a notice sent out to all residents beforehand, before we enact this.
It'll be right in with the tax.
And I think we have to also post that because, I don't know if all people get their taxes, do they? Everybody get their taxes?
Well, they
Or,
should.
well, do some go to escrow or it goes right to their address all the time? I don't
For the
know, I
escrow.
don't know how that works, I'm not sure.
They all go out. If it's not deliverable for some reason, then they wouldn't get it. Then sometimes I look for them because I know they moved or whatever. Otherwise, those may be handled by the escrow companies, and they contact me ahead of time for, you know, that kind of stuff. So it'll go to them. It'll go to them. It'll be,
I think it should be posted,
I know.
only because I know there's certain situations where there's accounts and stuff that pay the taxes and it doesn't even go to the person that's, I mean,
And
that's why we're
that's
sending,
my
that's why we
intent.
had the discussion about sending out receipts to everyone, so that they know that they're paid. So that they know they get paid.
Might want to announce this tomorrow night, that this motion was made tonight.
It's a good idea. Yep.
Second it?
a motion is second to,
Not allow refunds less than $2. Notice will be included with the taxes mailed and posted at all of our posting places.
Can I ask a question? So now you're saying less than $2. So if it's $2, you're gonna refund.
Yeah,
That motion says is
that's how I understood.
$1.99, you're
Yep.
not going to, but $2 you are.
That's how I understood Tom's motion, that I will.
Words are
And under
correct.
$2.
I do have one more question before we move on to part of the discussion is, would it be in our best interest to bring it up tomorrow night? I mean, we do have,
And vote on
Well,
it.
they can still
Yes.
talk about it, you know, just an announcement.
It's not an agenda, you can't put that on as an agenda.
Yeah, I think it's because it's not on the agenda.
But you could do it as an
can't do it.
announcement, it's,
You can talk about it, but you can't put it
Yeah,
on,
so-
make a
so
motion
you
to
can-
do it.
no, it's not a motion item, it's just an
Just
announcement.
make-
Yeah, you can
announcement.
announce it, and then, you know, if there's a big uproar, then
Okay, why don't we do that?
I mean, that's
Call us
my
a friend.
thing, if people really want us, I mean, we're a small fraction of the township, and maybe there is people out there that do want us to spend $3 to give somebody a $2
Or a penny.
You're,
Right.
Yeah.
if you make an announcement, okay, if you pass it tonight and you make an announcement tomorrow night and there's a huge uproar, all you've gotta do is at next month's board meeting rescind it.
Rescind it,
Because it'll be before the tax bills probably go out anyway.
yeah,
Simple enough.
an easy fix.
The only other, oh, go ahead, you've got a motion on the floor.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those that say against, say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
And also, it's in the budget dollars for the tax, but because we're gonna have to request a check to go to the post office, I'm gonna have to do like $1,000, because there's 707 homes, but then I'm gonna get into refunds right away too. Not refunds, I'm sorry, receipts. So I'm gonna request a check from John for $1,000 to go to the post office to get first class and second out stamps, and start getting those on envelopes so that we're prepared to get those tax bills out as soon as we can.
I would prefer that we use, because we've got a credit card refund,
Ooh, that'd
I
be
think we'll
nice.
just take the credit card and then.
Well, I don't have
then you
access
can-
to that, so you'll have to do that.
Yeah, so I can go and get a bunch of, you can tell me the kind of stamps that you want and I'll go get them.
So if he does 500, we'll do 500 then, and as
So
a
then
check.
we can do it, yeah, as a check the next board meeting. We can just
Or
put
is
in
it
the
okay
checklist.
if he charges them on his credit, through the credit card then? I don't know if you can you do that? I'm sure you
Sure.
can.
Yeah.
I can, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's the way we'll be doing it, then?
Yeah.
It's in the budget, the money's there for that purpose, so.
But I
Just
don't wanna
letting you
spend
know.
$1,000 at one crack, cause that's the limit of the entire credit card, so.
No, if you've got a credit of 500, but you're gonna have to do more than 500, because I have
Yeah,
more
yeah.
bills than that to
Yeah.
go out.
Yep.
So we don't need to do any motion?
No,
on
no,
that,
he's gonna use a
You
credit
just
card.
know that,
No,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Works for me.
Yeah, Gary?
Gary?
Are they gonna have the garbage schedules go out with the taxes?
Well, we hope so.
Should
Well, hope so.
They have a
It didn't
credit.
happen last year.
Well,
No, that was
I-
on the
Last month's
garbage
meeting,
company.
I requested 800. So, being that Bob isn't here tonight, so in the next day or so, if I don't get any, I don't have any contact with him, then I will go ahead and contact them and find out if we're gonna get those, so that we can get those folded and ready to go in. But yes, I requested 800.
So we move on to 10? Eliminating the official newspaper.
Yeah, so I would like to eliminate Marshall News Herald as our official newspaper. We're not required to have an official newspaper. However, if we, the town, designate an official newspaper, then we are required to post in that, and we have notices that require posting if we have a newspaper. The requirements for having an official newspaper is if there's a newspaper that's printed in your town, that's your official newspaper. You have to, you're required to. Since we don't have that, we're not required to have any newspaper. Currently, we have designated in our ordinances that Marshall News Herald will be our official newspaper. Therefore, we had to publish the bid notice for Winterberry in there. If we didn't have an official newspaper designated, we could have just posted at our posting places for whatever the required amount of time was, and then gone about our day. Same thing with the budget hearing. I don't believe that that would have to get posted.
It's not posting, it's publishing. There's two different
So you
qualifications
would still have to
there.
post stuff at our posting locations, we wouldn't have to publish it in the newspaper. The quote that I received from the News Herald to run the budget notice was $270.64, which was for 2 insertions. And as you know, because of issues with getting it published in the newspaper, we were required to change the date. So that was unfortunate. If we didn't have a newspaper designated, we could have just posted it at our posting locations and maintained the date that was previously agreed on. If we eliminate the News Herald as our official newspaper, we're not precluded from posting or publishing in there. We can still publish stuff in the newspaper if we want to. And we can also publish stuff in the Hub City Times, but we can't use that as our official newspaper because it has to have a paid circulation. So you can advertise it however much you want, but right now we're required to do it in the Marshfield News Herald. So, you know, I don't see any downsides. I see some cost savings and ease of being able to conduct business the way that the board wants to conduct it versus having to, you know, be on the Marshfield News Herald timeline.
I have a question. So when you're gonna be putting out bids for roads, you're not gonna be putting that in the paper no more?
No, I think what he's saying is we can still do that.
I understand we can
But-
still do it, but,
Yeah,
are we going to? That's my question.
yeah, I guess this, I don't know. It's-
Well, how are you gonna reach other people? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not of the techie age that you are, so.
Neither are most of the people that are
There's
giving
people
us
out
the
there,
bids.
I mean, how are you gonna meet, you know, get your stuff out to people in other cities? I mean, because not, our bids don't all come from local people here, right?
Correct.
So you could maintain interested parties list for different things. So road work, you can have an interested parties list that you solicit people. You say, hey, you know, we're eliminating our newspaper, official newspaper. Do you want to be on our interested parties list so that whenever we have road work to bid out, we will directly send you the bid. We will post it as normal, post it on at the physical posting places, post it on the website.
What do you do with new businesses? How do they find out about that list you're talking? You get new businesses out there that just started up, or somebody that's gonna do road base, okay? They don't know about that. They're gonna be looking in the paper.
Yeah, well, we can put them in Wisconsin Builders Exchange, the Dodge Report, Daily Reporter. They're all construction. That's nobody. I mean, you can put for free. If you have a project, you can put them in there.
And we can still put it in the Marshfield paper.
Absolutely.
That hits every
Because
contractor
honestly, I
in
think that's
Wisconsin.
where the majority of the people do get the bids for that.
Personally, I think that they get them from these aggregators. The only people that I got contacted for when we put the Winterberry contract out there was these aggregators. They said, hey, send me the bid, have there been any amendments? Who's all the people that have gotten the bids? Like, give me all this information. It was no companies, but all these companies probably subscribe to these aggregators who go out there and scrape this stuff and get the information, and then they send them a daily or weekly report saying, here's all of the new, requests for proposals in your area.
Right, and the Wisconsin Builders Exchange, Daily Reporter. I mean, there's other ones, even trade specific that do that. Like if there's any construction job in Wisconsin, it's on the Wisconsin Builders Exchange. You know, so we would be stupid not to, if we have, especially, I mean, you're not gonna put maybe a $3,000 job on there, but if it's anything size, especially something like Man Road, you'd wanna put it there so you get people from all over, you know, as many bidders as you can.
Does it cost?
No, they actually knock your door, they're knocking on your door to get the information.
Because that's what they're selling to the companies.
Because they're, right,
The
exactly.
companies, the building companies buy into this. They say,
They sell subscriptions for that information.
here's $20 a month, give me all of the RFPs that are out there that meet my thing, probably.
I guess the
Is
one
that-
issue that I have with having the paper is that we are on their agenda. I mean, it took like, I wanna say it was 3 days to get it in, and I don't know if that's normal, or did they have, is that normal?
No.
You know?
And furthermore, when I put it in for Winterberry, and I said to them, why is this process being treated differently? Because when I put it in for Winterberry, I think I sent it to them probably the night of the meeting, and then it got in on the Wednesday that Wednesday. It turned around really
Oh,
quickly.
really? Okay, a couple days.
But I did the same process this one, and it got in the Friday one. And that was the earliest that they said they could, no, the earliest that they said that they could do it was Thursday. Because if you remember, we were planning to do it on a Wednesday, if I recall correctly. It was Wednesday at 6. But because they wouldn't put it in there until Thursday, that was the first, I sent it to them on Monday night, and then, you know, on Tuesday, they said, okay, I'll give them the Thursday paper. You know, so.
We can simplify this by just saying, all we're doing here is just giving ourselves flexibility. You know, we plan on using the Marshfield News Herald to reach our people, or I mean the residents. But if we run into that, at least it gives us the flexibility to not have to do that.
I had a question, John, is that
That's
in our
all.
ordinance?
Excuse me?
Is that in our ordinance? That-
Yep.
Then you need to change your ordinance first.
I'm not sure what the process is,
Call the attorney.
but I would imagine that, you know, this would be, I think that amending the ordinances is something different.
Better call
We
the
just
And I
make
can-
sure it's not in there first.
And
Oh,
obviously,
he said it's in there.
obviously,
It's in there,
if
he
you
said.
make a
John said it's in
motion
there,
today,
So
ordinances.
it is,
if you
Yeah.
make a motion today to say, we're gonna eliminate the newspaper, that's not gonna override an ordinance. So, like, it will give me your intention or whatever, so that I can go forward and figure out what do we need to do to revise the ordinances? You know, like, because the ordinances are like the
Town laws.
state statutes kind of thing, that kind of thing, you know?
yeah, it's
Um,
there, yeah.
So, and I think that to amend an ordinance, you have to like post it, you have to post that also and stuff, so, you know, I'll have to, I
Why don't we
can,
do that
There's
first?
a process.
Why don't we
There's-
find that process out?
okay, I will bring this all back, on the
Okay.
next
yeah.
one, but, you know, this was more intended for discussion on, you know, is this something that you wanna do? Because if so, then I'll do all the work on figuring out how to revise an ordinance. If not, I don't wanna do all that work because it's not necessary currently, you know?
I personally think for the flexibility, because of the issues we've had, and just the last couple that we've tried to post, is a good idea myself. Not saying that we're not gonna use it. It just does give us that flexibility.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's,
nobody's saying we're not gonna use Marshfield News Herald.
correct.
But the language here on the agenda.
Just
It's
table it.
just, no,
No, you just,
just no action, no nothing,
As
There's
the-
nothing-
as the official.
all the stuff that's on here is just for
Still use
the,
it.
it's just for the audience, or for the public to know what might be discussed. So like, if you don't wanna do anything about it, then
Okay.
that's fine.
I think follow through with it.
Okay.
I do.
moving on to 11, plan commission appointment. Steve, you're up.
Well, what do I need to say other than I'm Steve Mikulski and I put my name forth for the planning commission. However, new news, I heard Tammy Wenzel, is that correct? I mean, I don't wanna step on toes and if,
We've
You know,
not
somebody's
gotten
been-
it, we've gotten it. We didn't have we didn't get anything from Tammy, did we?
Plan commission did. Dorothy
Yeah,
talked to
We
her.
talked to Dorothy.
so, you know, I don't wanna, like I said, step on toes if something's already been in motion. I'll step away but if not, I'm available to serve. Need to hear anything else from me, because I can talk. My kids.
Are you long-winded?
Yes. Well, real short, since you opened it up. Born and raised here in Marshfield. Some of you all might remember my mom and dad, Lorraine and Martin Pelsky. Not to get too drilled down, served in the Marine Corps, did some sheriff's office time in South Carolina. Now I serve up here at St. Joe, well, it's always gonna be St. Joe's at the hospital clinic as a security officer. So my life's been servitude, if you will, Eagle Scout, all the way to president. So if my presence is needed, I'll help out where I can. I've got a vested interest in this community, in this township. So, but like I said, if Tammy Wenzel's ahead of me, that's fine too. So I won't be heartbroken. I appreciate the board's support, but I know Tammy, so she'll do an outstanding job too. So it's all up to y'all. So either way, I know that's kind of sitting on the fence, but okay.
We just
Thank
need
you.
hard workers.
Okay, well, I'll help Tammy too.
You can already draw straws.
Yeah,
Point.
I guess we have to make a motion.
To
Yeah, I guess make a motion, maybe get a second, we'll do a discussion on it. So that we can talk about this. I do have some. So I would make a motion to accept Steve Mikulski for the zoning committee. That is Mikulski, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
It's the Plan Commission.
Planning Commission.
Science Commission, sorry. You're right.
A second it.
Give a motion a second.
So-
Wayne, go, now, start discussion.
What did Tammy, I mean, did she mention that she was interested?
Well, yeah, she had stopped and asked me, what was involved, she wanted to keep coming to the meetings, I said, by all means. And then she says, how do you guys appoint a commissioner? I said, well, we're gonna have an opening, because we knew Dennis was leaving. And she said, well, I'd like to put in for it.
And I believe that was put in the minutes of the last Plan Commission meeting, so you have a copy of that, the unapproved minutes.
May I say something further?
Absolutely.
Again, like I said, I don't mind stepping aside if that makes your decision easier. If a future position comes open, I'll gladly consider it and serve. So, I mean, if you need to make a decision tonight, that's fine.
Do we have to make decisions now?
Nope.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we are.
I agree.
We still
I'd
have
like
a
to talk
quorum.
to Tammy. I'd like to talk to Tammy myself, so.
Whatever works.
It would be nice if she had come
Yeah.
to us, but that didn't happen, so we can,
It's always been kind of the previous practice that the Plan Commission had basically found the person to be replacing somebody else.
I don't
Yeah.
believe that.
So
Pardon?
whatever works.
You were there, Carmen.
I'd like to talk to her myself, I
Mhm.
Okay,
just would like to talk to her. So can I table this?
Huh?
Well, we got a motion on the floor, so we basically vote no, if that's what you wish to do.
Okay.
And then,
or rescind the.
or you can rescind it, yeah, you can do that too.
I'll just
said the
rescind
same
the
about
motion,
you.
John. I'd like to talk.
Told you to get a float.
Okay.
That's what I said, draw straws.
Can I ask a question on that? So I think the commission were appointed May, starting in May 1. They go May 1 and they're, I think, 2 years or 3 years serving. So is this to complete someone's term and how long is that then? So if you would have appointed Steve tonight, he's filling in for someone, correct?
No, we had,
He's replacing somebody who left.
Correct.
but,
Okay,
yeah, he
so
resigned.
then his appointment is until whatever that person's term is up.
No.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
appointment was
He was just
over.
reappointed.
His appointment
He
was,
was just
Well, but I
reappointed,
think the ordinance,
and then
we'll look at the ordinance, I think the
right?
ordinance is saying, plan commission, I don't know. They used to say plan commission was May 1, starting in May
Yeah.
1. So it doesn't mean his term is up now, it means he's leaving his term, right?
So we got something we better be sure of. I mean,
Well, he and Carla were reappointed, right? And then he resigned after, or
Right.
wasn't it the following meeting he resigned? Isn't that the way he did it?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
Huh?
yes.
Yes, he gave a letter
Yeah,
of
so
resignation.
it would be like a new term for,
Yep.
yeah.
But it's
But
not.
we're out of sync in the
It's
We're out of
calendar.
sync, but my gosh,
Yeah.
Well, it's easier if you do it, that's why.
it is, it is.
They're all May
So,
1.
But
so
we're
if
off
that's what they
schedule
say,
anyway.
If that's what the ordinances say, that's what you should be doing.
Okay, so
Kind of like a
we'll take,
newspaper.
just make,
Correct. You just
make a
have to-
motion to table,
I rescind it.
oh, you rescinded
said
it,
it.
okay.
Hmm.
And
Sorry.
Steve,
Yes.
thank you for showing up tonight, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Come to our meeting.
I
You
can at
might be
least do
sitting
that,
out
right?
there, you might be sitting down here. Who knows?
That's too bad.
6 o'clock in 2 weeks?
One more?
We got one more, Marathon County zoning code comments.
Yeah, so, I emailed this to you all, it's in your packets, the Marathon County is soliciting feedback from the towns. I believe that the planning commission had some feedback that was in their, minutes that they, and Dorothy mentioned today about, what they were suggesting to have in the town's response to Marathon County. So if there's any other official stuff, or if you want me to invite them to the December town meeting? Or Dorothy, are they coming to your next meeting?
To
did you
our
say?
plan, our meeting wouldn't be until the end of December.
So we have
Because
to
we
be
usually
sooner.
don't have a meeting in
Yeah.
December because it's Christmas.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you guys want them to come,
So it would
Here?
have to be your town
they
board
can,
meeting.
I can request that they come to the December one?
Yes.
Okay,
What
I
date
have
is our
something
December
to
meeting?
add to it
I
anyway.
think it's the 12th.
Because they needed him by the 16th, right? I think it says in there prior to the December 16th.
Yeah, so they want your comments, questions, or concerns prior to Friday, December 16th. So I would say that you guys can present your comments, questions, and concerns that night. I guess maybe they want
They're
to
asking
write
for writing.
Rather,
Okay, so I mean, you guys can, any comments, questions, and concerns, you can submit to me after the meeting, and I'll send them along.
At the meeting, and then that will be soon enough. What's? the-
Yeah, they want it by that Friday, so
Do they have to
we'll
have
meet
a
on Monday.
resolution?
They want
Pardon?
Does a
comments by
resolution have
Friday,
to be
so that'll be
passed?
fine.
Oh, okay.
Or
The one question I
county
got
thing?
though,
For
Dorothy
their
probably answered
opinion
better
on
than
what
some.
to do.
My question is, when we're going from the 14-foot sidewall to the 16-foot sidewall, what area or what zoning is that actually for?
It's for rural residential.
So that would not be like the Hill project, they would not be able to do it there without going through something, right?
Right. Or, Chris Ortell, he's got rural residential. There's ones coming up on Eve that have had to get them because it's residential area. Ag it doesn't pertain to.
Okay.
Because of heavy equipment, don't
No,
you?
like the area, and I'm not picking on you, Gary, but I know your property. He wouldn't be able to put a 16-foot wall up there, right?
And right
Say
now,
his
no.
burned to the ground, say his burned to the ground,
No, no.
unfortunately,
He
and then he
would-
rebuilt.
If he could get a conditional
good.
use permit.
So that's why we're trying to get them to
But
change it.
It's
Yeah.
like.
Well, I just don't want it showing up in a, what would be considered like a suburb or a development like Hills, all of a sudden
See,
you've got.
that is a subdivision. There's a difference
Okay.
between subdivision and rural residential.
I just wanted to clarify that for myself, I guess, is what that's why I
Because,
wanted to know where it was going.
on the C going next to Mullins, that big shed there, that's residential, and he had to get a conditional use to put the taller door, taller sidewalls.
Because one thing, even if we don't go for the taller sidewalls, I still think we need to, if
Because
that doesn't go that
it's
way.
been the uniform code for us forever, and this is the chance to change it.
Because even like Bob's down there, because I've talked to him on it, it's not so much the height of the sidewalls, it's the fact that they actually have a height of the door. And in my opinion, the architect should figure out the height of the door. Because really the peak of the building and the peak and the height of the sidewalls really dictates how it looks where it's sitting.
It's well, you're contractor, it's the header room in order to be able to pull that door up.
But the good, like in his case.
It is, but I mean, there's a lot more that goes into that, because now they're making garage door heavy. I mean, you can get a low clearance garage overhead door that has, 8 inches of clearance above that header, above that opening for that door, that you can still get a door up. So years ago, it used to be 2 feet, basically, is what they wanted. And then it went to 1 foot, was very minimal. And now they're down to 8 inches because they make stuff that's 8 inches. So for me, it was always more looking at this building, knowing that I got a 14-foot wall, and they're gonna put a motorhome in there. There's no way they're gonna get it in there with a 12-foot door. So
One time
16-foot sidewall, to me, makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot of campers out there.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna just put up a building with 14-foot doors unless they are gonna absolutely use it.
Correct.
Yeah, they don't wanna pay for it.
That is
They're
correct.
not gonna use it.
But there's people
Right,
that
either.
couldn't do it because they couldn't put a 16-foot wall, because even with the 412 pitch roof, it was higher than their peak on the house, so they weren't allowed to do it. That's the issue I ran into.
See, and this will change the code.
Correct. And that'll help those people out.
Mhm.
Yes, I agree.
And yes, if mine burned down, it would be bigger.
Oh, I know. I would think so.
Yeah, that too.
I make a motion to adjourn. We're done.
I'll second it then.
Yeah.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? We're adjourned.
Sure.
He said code,
So
so
don't forget, I'm
we're
looking
gonna-
for feedback of what you want me to bring over there for paper documents for all the
we'll bring it ready and tell them it's in the ordinance.
It's gonna be real close.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, feel free.